I remember the first time I got an internship. It felt like a victory. Finally, I thought, this was my shot at real-world experience. My resume had always been a collection of GPA numbers, club memberships, and volunteer hours. But this was different. This was supposed to be the bridge between the classroom and the working world, the opportunity that would make me look competent, professional, and employable. I pictured myself showing up at the office, wearing the right outfit, carrying a laptop bag that screamed, "I belong here," and finally proving that I wasn't just another college student coasting through life. The weeks leading up to it were a mix of anxiety and excitement. I crafted my LinkedIn profile like it was a work of art, practiced handshakes in front of a mirror, and memorized the company's mission statement so I could quote it in every conversation. The moment I got the confirmation email, I felt like I had won. My friends congratulated me, my parents were proud, and for the first time, I felt like I was stepping into a world that really mattered. The first day at the internship was overwhelming. The office smelled of coffee and polished floors. The hum of printers, ringing phones, and murmured conversations created a rhythm I had never experienced in a classroom. Everyone seemed so confident, so sure of their purpose, so competent. I felt small, out of place, and painfully aware that I was the least experienced person in the room. The orientation was a blur of HR paperwork, security badge assignments, and introductions to managers who didn't have time to notice me beyond a polite nod. I was eager to contribute, but the reality was clear. This was not college. There was no grading curve, no safety net, no participation points. At first, I tried to be the perfect intern. I arrived early, stayed late, and volunteered for every minor task I could find. I organized files, scheduled meetings, brewed coffee, and copied documents, all while silently hoping someone would notice that I was trying, that I had potential, that I was serious about learning. But no matter how hard I worked, I often felt invisible. The people around me had experience, confidence, and authority. I was just a placeholder, a temporary body filling a seat, learning the ropes in silence. One of the hardest parts was the pressure to perform without knowing how. Unlike school assignments, there weren't clear instructions, grading rubrics, or office hours. Every task came with ambiguity. Help with the project meant different things depending on who was asking, and I often spent hours second-guessing whether I was doing it correctly. I worried about making mistakes that would make me look incompetent, about asking stupid questions, about slowing down the workflow of people who had real responsibilities. Every email I sent, every spreadsheet I formatted felt like it carried weight far beyond its actual importance. The internship also exposed me to a reality I hadn't anticipated, the social politics of the workplace. I watched managers and colleagues navigate personalities, alliances, and informal hierarchies that I didn't understand. Lunches were often strategic, networking opportunities disguised as casual conversation. Meetings included subtle signals of status, authority, and influence. As a newcomer, I struggled to understand the unspoken rules. I felt like I was constantly walking on eggshells, trying not to misstep while also trying to learn something meaningful. Financial pressure was another unexpected challenge. Many internships are unpaid or offer a small stipend that barely covers commuting or meals. I had to balance my internship with part-time work, studying for classes, and keeping up with assignments. My weeks were filled with a juggling act. Waking early to get to the office, rushing to class, squeezing in a few hours of paid work, and then staying up late to finish homework. Sleep became optional, meals became irregular, and stress became constant. I realized that being an intern wasn't just about gaining experience. It was about surviving in a system that demanded more than it offered in return. Then there were the micro disasters, the tiny moments that make you question your life choices. Like the time I was asked to prepare a presentation for a client meeting, slides full of data, charts, and key insights. I spent hours formatting, checking, and double-checking. When I presented it, my manager said, "Good effort, but we'll need to redo the last 3 slides." Just like that, hours of work felt meaningless. Or the day I was asked to take meeting notes during a strategy session, and I misheard a statistic, jotting down a completely wrong number. My heart sank when it was read aloud in front of the team. I had imagined my first real-world mistakes being small and forgivable. Instead, they felt catastrophic. Social awkwardness compounded everything. Every interaction felt like a subtle evaluation. At lunch, I debated whether to join colleagues or sit alone. If I sat with them, would I be seen as intrusive? If I stayed apart, would I appear disengaged? During casual office chats, I measured every word, wondering if I was networking effectively or worse, overstepping. Friends back at college didn't understand. It's just an internship, they said, but it was everything to me. My performance, my connections, my future, all of it felt fragile. The pivotal moment came midway through the internship. I was assigned a real project, a chance to prove that I could handle responsibility. I spent days researching, analyzing, and preparing a report that I believed would impress my manager. When I finally presented it, the feedback was polite but lukewarm. "It's fine," she said. "We'll need to revise some parts." I nodded, swallowing the lump in my throat. That evening, I sat on my bed, staring at the floor, realizing that this internship wasn't going to be the triumphant validation I had imagined. It was just a first taste of the real-world grind, unpredictable, demanding, and humbling. The emotional aftermath was brutal. I doubted myself constantly. Was I smart enough, capable enough, motivated enough? Did I belong in the professional world, or had I just gotten lucky with the internship offer? I felt the pressure of looming career expectations. This internship was supposed to lead to a full-time offer, to a stepping stone, to proof that I could handle life beyond college. The uncertainty gnawed at me. I couldn't afford to fail, but I also couldn't control everything. Candidates' schedules changed, colleagues were too busy to answer questions, and sometimes the tasks were simply boring, mundane, or frustratingly unclear. I also had to deal with the stereotype that interns are clueless or expendable. People assumed I wouldn't know how to do anything meaningful. Every small mistake felt like confirmation that I didn't belong. I remember sitting in a team meeting, nervously suggesting an idea, and having it dismissed almost immediately. I tried to laugh it off, but inside I burned with embarrassment. It was a constant battle between wanting to contribute and fearing I'd make a fool of myself. One of the strangest pressures was the constant need for visibility. You had to be noticed without seeming desperate. Every email, every task, every interaction was part of an unspoken audition. I had to be helpful, approachable, and engaged, all while hiding the panic that came with my inexperience. Even small accomplishments, like successfully booking a meeting across multiple time zones, or the first time a manager complimented a spreadsheet I created, or the first time I received a thank you email from a colleague, it all felt monumental. These tiny victories reminded me that even as an intern, I could contribute meaningfully. They were the sparks that kept me going through the endless hours of minor tasks, confusion, and self-doubt. The internship also taught me resilience. I learned to recover quickly from mistakes, to adapt when plans changed, and to accept that not every effort would be recognized. I started to understand the importance of patience. Learning a new system, navigating office dynamics, and building competence takes time. And I began to develop humility, recognizing that being at the beginning of a career means embracing the uncomfortable and the imperfect. Financially, the challenges remained. Balancing the internship with part-time work and academic obligations was a constant struggle. Some weeks I was so exhausted that I skipped meals just to stay on top of deadlines. Others, I stayed up until 2 a.m. preparing presentations or reports that would only receive minor feedback. Sleep became optional, stress constant, and free time non-existent. It was a crash course in time management, prioritization, and endurance. By the end of the internship, I had grown in ways I hadn't anticipated. I could navigate professional emails, understand office politics, manage small projects, and communicate effectively with people far more experienced than me. I had faced rejection, embarrassment, and uncertainty, and survived. I learned that internships suck, yes, but they are also transformative. They offer a first taste of responsibility, expectations, and the work ethic required to survive beyond college. Looking back, being an intern in college is brutal. It's stressful, exhausting, and often underappreciated. You are underpaid, overworked, and constantly evaluated. You face ambiguity, social politics, and the pressure to perform while learning. Mistakes feel monumental, and success is often fleeting. But it is also a crucible that teaches resilience, patience, humility, and adaptability. It shows you what it means to be part of the professional world and prepares you for the challenges ahead. The key lesson: surviving an internship isn't about perfection. It's about showing up, learning, adapting, and finding the courage to keep going even when tasks feel meaningless, feedback is sparse, and recognition is rare. It's the first taste of the professional grind, and it shapes you in ways college courses never could. When it's over, even with all the exhaustion and stress, you walk away knowing you've taken the first step into the real world, and that step, messy, awkward, and challenging as it was, matters more than you realize.